died. Let's see if I can power it back on. All right, so sorry about that. I actually, when I started the live feed, I went to my personal Google account, YouTube account, Mike Trotty, and I started a live video on that stream. So sorry about that. So maybe this will work out a little bit better. It's like, man, there's not a lot of people on it today. So let me know if you can hear me loud and clear. Team Rummy, Showob, what's up? JM, London locked in. I like it. I was hoping to go to Germany this year to go to Interzoo, and I just had too much going on, and I didn't really feel comfortable traveling international with all the madness going on in the world. But I hope that in 2 years, every 2 years they have Interzoo, and I hope to be in a position 2 years from now that when I go to Interzoo, we're going to go to London, we're going to travel, you know, maybe spend a week or two going and visiting different shops and different breeders. I want to go to Pure Aquatics. I think he's in, I don't know if he's in London, but I know he's in England. So, but one of the nicest looking shops I've ever seen. So, yeah, so that was the problem. So sorry, I'm even later. I started late, but now I was even later. So now it's looking a lot better. Jive Turkey says audio's good. Chris Law says sounds good. Team Rummy says we're good. Jake says we're good. Zachary says happy Friday, everyone. David says, yep, hopefully everyone has a great weekend this weekend, and it's Memorial Day weekend. So everybody be safe out there. It's going to be crazy. I hope to take my son fishing Saturday on the St. Johns River. He's got a bass tournament, the state tournament, in 2 weeks. So we're going to go up there and hopefully find some bass. So in 2 weeks when he has his tournament, we can go back and catch some more bass. You guys know not only am I into like aquarium fish, but also do all types of fishing. I love being outdoors. So we're going to be doing that, I hope, this weekend. Yes, it's Pure Aquatics, and it's in Wigan. Yeah, I've communicated with the owner before. He tried. I'm friends with him on Facebook. He wanted to buy some fish from us years ago, and I just didn't really want to go through all the paperwork that the EU has us do to ship fish to Europe. I told him, I was like, man, it's a real pain on our end to get all the paperwork required to ship to Europe. So I told him one day though we would definitely maybe start shipping to Europe. So I know we've been shipping to Canada with good success with the paperwork, and you know, we're going to maybe replicate that same process. The problem is UPS to Europe. I can't imagine what that's going to be as far as cost. So, but if there's something really rare, and I know we're always seeing fish in Europe that we would like to get, and the shipping is just not worthwhile. The paperwork process is very difficult. So maybe if we could start getting UPS to ship things back and forth, that might open up getting some new fish across the pond and getting us some new fish from across the pond. So, all right, I'm gonna give you guys some updates with the big tanks. They are cycled, and we are starting to skate the tanks out. We got a bunch of the different rocks that we brought back from the Georgia mountains about a month ago. So we're going to start putting some rocks in. We've got some driftwood that we're going to start putting in. And I might go ahead and add a few fish to the tanks today just to help speed up the cycling process. But we're super stoked. We also got the lights. They are turned off right now, but I think we could just turn them on with the flip of the switch. I might have to ask Zach. I thought they were all hooked. Oh, you know what it is? There's a switch on this. So there we go. All right, so now the lights are on. So We've got more lights for some of them that we will probably add for like the planted tanks and stuff, but right now that looks like it's going to be pretty good lighting. So really excited to start adding some fish to these guys. And we are having the Tampa Bay Aquarium Society over next Saturday, not this Saturday, but next Saturday. So it'd be nice to have the fish in the tanks. We also started covering up the drain holes with concrete. We did one just to see how we liked it. So now we got to cover up the rest of the cut concrete, and we'll probably be doing that next week also. And that should be good to go for fish. I'm gonna try to answer these questions as they come in this time, because last time I couldn't answer them all. So, all right, Ali Sean, what's up, Jeff? Eds. Oh, Jive Turkey's got a good question. I like that name too, Jive. So yes, it actually is hard for us to keep the tanks cool, especially this year. Like last summer, we didn't really have that really, intense heat until I would say August. August was our hottest month last year, but this year, May has been like, I haven't looked at the statistics, but it's one of the hottest ones that I remember in a very, very long time. So it is a problem. We do have, there's all kind of water on the outside of that one. We do have these big exhaust fans going, okay? And we do have, fans going all around the building. But even with that, our water temps have been getting, I'd say the highest that I've tested them was 83. And that might be okay for like my Africans and South Americans, but my rainbows do not like it. So we had to do some things different. So one thing is that these lids are really nice, solid lids, but these tanks were like 2 degrees hotter than the tanks without lids. So we had to start taking some of the lids off some of the tanks. The only fish in this room that don't like 82 degree temperature is some of the rainbow fish. So we actually got some fans blowing right down the side for the rainbows, but they seem to be holding up pretty well. And the lids, these types of lids, which are a lot lighter, do not seem to be holding the heat as much as those solid lids. So we're doing that, trying to keep the airflow. Overall, it's been really well. I leave these fans on, these exhaust fans on. I've been coming out mostly at like 9 o'clock at night to turn them off. That way I could pull a lot of the heat out that's built up during the day. And then I turn the fans off, and then in the morning we turn the fans back on. We can't leave them on 24/7 because the temperature will drop too much, and we don't want like big swings. So that's what we're doing to shed the heat. Another thing that we're doing to work with the temperature control is we actually had 2 different air conditioning companies come out, and they're working on quotes for us to put central heat and air in this building. I am not excited about the cost of that type of equipment, nor am I excited about the cost of trying to maintain temperature, in the summertime, but I have to look at what's best for the fish. So if I can maintain like 78, 80 degrees in here, somewhere that's a happy medium for South American fish and rainbow fish and all other fish, then I do not mind putting central heat and air in the building. But it's something that we are looking at, and we will end up doing that. It's going to help with several things, like from the heat in the summertime where it gets really, really hot, and then also the wintertime. Even though I have a big gas heater in this building, it will help even out the heat. So it'll be a lot better once we get where we can have a steady temperature. And these tropical fish, they don't like swings. Like, they can handle cooler temperatures. They're just not going to like, you know, going from hot to cold or cold to hot very rapidly. So it's got to be like a slow acclimation. And by having the temperature constant, I think it'll make a big difference with our fish. So we're super excited about the possibilities of having central heat in there. But that's kind of what we do with you know, the heat, is we just try to shed it and get it out of this building. This is our Firebird Fryer iceberg that is separated from the breeding group because he was getting beat up by the other male. So now we just have one male in our breeding group, and he seems to be fine. He's liking being by himself with all those females. So let's see what else we got. I'm going to answer some of these questions. I'll probably just post this up in front of it and see what I can show you guys. Let me come around here. We did reload on some rainbows, and I just saw somebody ask some questions about it. So we got some more Kamaka rainbows in. So you guys aren't bored, I'm just going to keep you looking at these beautiful rainbow fish. All right, Mauricio from Mexico, what's up? Hey Chris, yeah, I'm trying to, it's so hot, man. I'm trying to keep it trimmed up because it's been brutally hot. It's been one of the hottest Mays I remember in a long time. PB Aquatics, what's up? Dan Coate. Just Kai said, when is the new shipment going to be online? Interested in the albino geos and the P bass. So, you know what? When I started live earlier, I started talking about the endo order. I was hoping that a lot of them would be ready today, but the problem is a lot of them broke down with ick. Like, let's see, probably on Tuesday of this week. In fact, they were looking good enough. They were like, all right, these could start going up soon. And then all of a sudden we have, like, out of 60 tanks of fish, we had about 15 of them come down with ick. So the good news is that we caught the ick early, and, you know, most of them have recovered from it, but we're still going to monitor them for going into next week. So I would say at some point next week, we're going to have a lot of those coming up online. So the P bass, for the most part, came through it really well. The Koberry and the Azules, and then I did lose some of the broken pondu, which is the third type of peacock bass that I brought in. Those guys didn't handle the ick very well, but all the albino geos did well. So you know, we're going to make a post about it on our Facebook page, and you guys could email too. I've already started a list of what people are requesting, like the Asian rummy nose, the naked splendens, those guys. People have been asking for them. There will only be limited females available for those because most of them we're going to save for breeders. Same thing with some of the albino geos. Like, we're going to have like a small group for sale, but most of them are going to be for breeders. So so shoot us an email if you've seen something on that endo order that you're interested in, and we will make sure that you get first dibs on it. Okay. Let me go to another tank. Somebody who's been asking for these, and I think they were on the Facebook Live, or not the Facebook Live, the YouTube Live last Friday, the multi-squamatas, okay? And I'm going to look up your email to make sure you get some of these, but these are what they call the red dragon is the common name, and they look just like a kind of a plain silver looking fish, but when they are in breeding coloration, they look unreal. Like, you Google multi-squamata rainbow fish, and you'll see them with pictures of them in breeding dress. So this is one you definitely want to get males and females with. And we could try to sex these guys out, but we're probably going to sell them as unsexed, even though they're big enough that we could have a good idea of what the sexes are. We just can't guarantee the sex. So these guys are probably going to be going online today. So if you're interested in the multi-squamatas, there is a listing on our website for them. So you could, just check later this evening, and these guys will be back up. And if you don't already, use that out of stock notification. That will send you an email as soon as that we do put them back online. So these will be going back online today. And like I said, it's just a silverfish unless it gets in the breeding dress. And that is the way it is with a lot of these newer rainbows, is they don't look all that pretty unless you've got females in the tank, and they're really like trying to show off for the females. So I'm gonna read some of these questions. Let me bounce over to another tank. Oh, I'll just go to the one right above it, the Madagascar Rainbows. So I'll leave it on this tank. These also will be going back online today. Alright, Robin from North Carolina, and Code. Chad's looking for a breeder pack of the Star Sapphires. So we are not offering them sexed at the size that they are. In fact, let me go over there and just show you what they look like. Actually, yeah, let me see. So we are only offering them as unsexed, even though they are at that 3-inch mark. I think on the website we've got them listed. I'm sorry, we don't have any more of that. They're out on the website. There is some that are like 2.5 inches. You can see in there, but there's no way to tell males from females. So if you are wanting, to get these guys, I would recommend, especially if you're wanting a breeder pack, me personally, I would be ordering the 1 to 2 inch size and letting them grow up, because that's going to be the lowest price tier, is 1 to 2 inch. Off the top of my head, I can't tell you the price, but I do know that they're considerably cheaper. And you grow them up, and then you got males and females. I mean, it would be really bad luck to order like 5 unsexed Star Sapphire and get only females, and even if you did only get males, then good, because the males are really what everybody likes anyways. So you could grow those guys up, and you'll have some stunners chipped out in your tank. Now you'll be waiting a long time, but because they do take a long time to chip out. But that's what I would do. I would order the unsexed, and there's some in there that are like 2.5 inches. Team Rammy's asking how easy it is to breed the Star Sapphires. Easy. I mean, I wouldn't say like Alana Carr or Mabuna type easy. They're a more of a deep water hap. So, but if you've got them in a 125, that's plenty big enough. And if you had a group of, let's just say 10 of them in a 125, these guys are going to breed for you. Now, they're not going to be as prolific as Alana Carr species, but yeah, they're not difficult to breed. So, just like most of the Malawis, they're pretty easy. So, alright, so Jake is asking to see the Dragon Bloods. So I will show you which ones we have left, which is not very many. There's a couple males in there, and these very well could be spoken for already on the website. We are very, very limited with peacocks, especially male peacocks. We have been sending out lots and lots of male peacocks. So there's a young male starting to color up. But the good news is we do have them growing up in a pond. So we will have more in. So I would say in the next couple weeks, we're going to have a lot of Dragon Bloods available. When we brought them in like 2 months ago, they were more like 2 inches, and we left them out there for longer. And now the next time we bring them in, I'm hoping to get a lot of 3 to 4 inch Dragon Bloods. This is the gizzles. So I know David had mentioned earlier when I was on the wrong live feed, um, the gizzles are spectacular. I really like these. These are also in the same family as the star sapphires and the Madagascar. So let's go back to the rainbow fish. Chris is saying he still does not have a lemon jake. You know, we did bring in some lemon jakes this week and they're in quarantine, but we have had lots of issues with our lemon jakes. So I'm hoping that these guys come out of quarantine really nice, but they have not been doing well for us. So I'm hoping we will have some available pretty soon. This is the Doherty eye. You can see a couple males that are really collared up in the back. That's kind of how you gauge if your rainbows are happy, is the color of them. So they will not have very good color when they are not happy. But when they're happy, those guys are just as stunning as any peacock cichlid. So we got some medium-sized Bosemani in on that last order. So those guys, in fact, that female just swam by. She's all egged up, ready to have babies. So we got some bigger Bosemani. What else did we bring in? The multi-squamatas, I showed you those guys. Still got the crimson spot. Those guys are really nice. The yellows are really nice. I think I show those guys off. Every time I walk by that tank, I just want to stare at it. So, if you're looking for bottom cleaners for your rainbow tanks, I would recommend these Peacock Dungeons. So these are, you know, do very well in a community, or in a group, I should say. So I'd recommend like having 3 to 5 or more in a tank, and those guys have lots of personality and they get very colorful as they get bigger. I know we got some more rainbows in, so let me look and see which ones were new. Oh, somebody asked about the red lasers. Let me find out which tank those went in. The red neon blue eyes. So these guys, the Pseudomagul species, are really, really sensitive. And these guys will probably not be up on the website until next week, just because we want to monitor them. When they came in, they were very stressed, so those guys will not be ready. But these are from a local breeder. I also have a batch that we brought in on that endo order. Those guys very well will be ready even sooner than that batch will. We got some fricatas, the blue eyes. This is another one. All the Pseudomagul species, they're really sensitive. Like I could honestly say that I do not have the best success with these species. So you know, once they come in and they go through like a long period of acclimation and adjusting to our water, they do just fine. But we always quarantine those guys a little bit longer. Here's our stray cat that showed up about a month ago, and now he's part of the family. We don't have an official name for him. Some people are calling him Fish, and my son is calling him Tomboy. So we got a new member to the family here. I'm gonna show you a few other fish that came in last week. We got in some Jaguar Cichlids. Those guys are really shy right now. So the Paratrophius are looking good. Since you asked, I'll walk over there and show you those guys. They did not catch ick. So I would expect those guys to be ready also next week. And you could tell like when a fish is stressed. Like even I think on the live feed last week, these guys were not that active. But now that, you know, they went through that quarantine period and they're looking really well, those guys should be ready next week. So this is a Madagascar cichlid. And I also meant to tell you the screenshot that I used for today's Fun Friday was the bleaker eye, because we are still getting quite a few customers that order them and they're like, hey, you know, our bleaker eye is like not showing any color. And I'm like, well, that's because they're not happy yet. So if they just shipped into you, it's going to take them, you know, sometimes a week to recover and adjust to your water parameters. Your water parameters will always be different than my water parameters. There's no way that you could make your water the exact hardness and pH of mine. And these guys just came in a couple days ago from our grow out ponds and vats. So they're not even showing great color yet. But after a couple days, you'll start seeing a couple of them turn jet black. And that's what we're, you know, as a, you know, hobbyist, when you order those, don't expect them to be like jet black when they come in. The clown loaches are looking good. They also caught ick, but like these big guys, we didn't lose very many of them. We actually use salt to treat the ick for those guys, because copper is very you know, stressful to scaleless fish, especially clown loaches. So we raise the salinity up with just rock salt too. Like you could buy rock salt like $5 for a 50-pound bag. It's very inexpensive. Instead of buying aquarium salt, which is basically the same thing. So we put a half a cup per 10 gallons for our water to raise the salinity to 4 ppt, 4 parts per thousand, and it does a great job getting rid of the ick. All right, so ick is very easy to get rid of as long as you catch it early. This is the Borneo suckers. Those guys are all hiding in the corner there. Let's go look at some of the endo fish. The rummy nose are still looking good, but these guys, like, we've been through like a lot of different antibiotics. They also went through ick. The Paratropolis, yes. Oh, she's talking about need warm water. I found that they are more susceptible to ick if they get chilled. Yes, all the Madagascar species, even the bleaker eye, they do not like any kind of temperature swings. So like you got to keep your temperature usually on the hot side, you know, 80 degrees should be sufficient. And they don't like it when it goes from like 80 to 75 very quickly. In fact, they don't like 75 at all. They almost always catch ick, you know, whenever there's a temperature swing. That's why it's always good to have quarantine tanks set up. So especially for new arrivals, that way if you do have to treat them, then you've already got them isolated from your main tank. That's the yellowtail Congo tetras. Those guys are looking good, so I expect those guys to be going up. Let's look at the Asian rummy nose, the naked Brazoboras. We had lots of emails about these after last Friday when I showed them off for the first time, but they're looking really good. Just know that we do not have a lot of females. They did send me some females, and I will try to accommodate the ones that had already requested females, but it looks like there's going to be a lot more males in these batches now that they've been settled in. So I cannot promise females for these guys, but the good news is we did get some females, and that we are going to be separating out the females for breeders. And then, like I said, a couple people emailed me after the live feed last Friday. Ali Sean was one of them, that we're going to make sure that you get some pairs of these guys. So I know there was a question I should answer. The one guy is saying, any plans to import pacu? So pacu is not a fish that we will be bringing in. Not that we can't. They are readily available from Asia, tank raised. They're also available from the wild, but we as a company decided not to carry pacu anymore because too many of them are getting let loose in nature, because they do get bigger than what most people can maintain in an aquarium. And we're friends with a few of the fish rescue companies. Big Rich is one of them. And Big Rich says red-tailed catfish and pacu are the two fish that are the most problematic for people getting them where they can't take care of them, because they get bigger than what most tanks can hold. So, unfortunately, I know there's some people that do have tanks big enough for pacu, but not very many. So we stopped carrying pacu for that reason. So the zebra plecos are looking really good. Those guys did not catch ick, thank God. But yeah, we haven't lost a single one. They seem to be doing really, really well. So those also should be up next week. Here's the albino redhead Tapahos. Those guys are looking really, really well. You could see all the fish are way more active than they were last Friday. So, and of this breeding group, I brought in 30 of them. We're going to save like 15 of them back for breeders. I made a mistake with the albino heckleye in the past. Like, we saved back 5 of them for breeders. When we grew them up, we had like 4 males and 1 female, and then whenever they got big enough to breed, they killed the male, killed the female, and then they're like, man, that was a long wait for nothing. But the good news is that the males were stunning when we did sell them, and they ended up going out to some of our customers. So now, when we get a breeding group, we're going to try to keep a big group, so when we do grow them up, we'll have plenty of males and females. That's the pea puffers. The yaru are looking good. What else was being asked about? The albino heckleye. And those guys came in really stressed, just like some of the other ones, but they're recovering really well. So, like I said, we're going to save a big group of these back for breeders, and then the rest of them are going to go out to the hobby. So if you guys are interested in some of these fish, shoot us an email. It's going to be first come, first serve. Some of these will probably not even make it to the website because, I've already had lots of requests for them. So shoot us an email, any of these fish you see that aren't available on the website, and we will let you know if they're going to be available or not. We got some red lizard cats. Those guys are doing really well. See those guys on the sponge right there. I don't know if you can see them. Those are also tank raised. What else did we get over here? The gobies are looking good. The teardrops. They seem to be really liking the Daphnia that we're putting in there, and the Moena. So those guys are looking really good. Really cool fish. That's my swamp darters from the Green Swamp. Those guys are really nice. These guys aren't for sale. I have been getting quite a bit of requests for some native fish. So there's a good chance that we're going to get some of these guys up on the website too. But if you do get some of the Florida native fish, like the swamp darters or Elisoma or Gloriosus, don't put them in with like the wrong fish. Do a tank just for them. We still get a lot of customers that they're mixing, the wrong fish with African cichlids and stuff, and as soon as, we see it, we do not allow them to purchase them, and we try to educate them and say, hey, you can't put, zebra plecos with lagunas. It's not good for the fish, and that's not very, very smart. So please do your research on all these fish before you buy them, because it's very, very important that we take good care of them, and you'll be more successful keeping them. So earlier somebody was asking about the red neon blue eyes. So here's the ones that we brought in from Endo, and these guys should be ready for sure next week. This one does have males and females in it. So, you know, we brought in these guys from Indo, and then we also got some yesterday from a local breeder. We also got some kabotais in, the yellow Razabora kabotai. Those guys are really awesome fish. They get bright green. Try to Cephalots, those guys are looking good. So everything's looking really good for Endo. Like I said, just we had to wait to start selling any of these fish because we did have an outbreak of ick, and we want to have these fish all cleaned up before we start shipping them out. The red festes, of course, that fish is going to be very ugly until it gets big, and then when it gets big, it's, I have to say, one of the most colorful fish I've ever had. I had a group probably about 10 years ago that I grew up, and the male and the female was just stunning. And then the female actually killed the male. These guys are really aggressive. I mean, I'm talking like Dovai, probably even more than Dovai type aggressive. So at some point, you know, when these guys get bigger, we're going to have to move them to like a bigger tank to grow out. We got some Burundi frontosas in. Somebody had asked about the Dovai earlier, so let me go show them the Dovai. And then we're going to probably wrap this up here in a few minutes. So the Dovai are over here. And these guys are still a little bit shy, but you see here, this one, he's probably about 6 to 7 inches. And they're just now starting to get their nice blue markings. We do have one female, actually there's a couple females here. So we also got in some big Oscars. I think I showed you those guys last week. We actually kept those in quarantine a little bit longer, even though they came from a local breeder. When they came in, they were really stressed. So we held on to those guys a little bit longer. And then we got some smaller Dovai here. These would be more the 3 to 4 inch range. And, you know, they look nice when they're this size, and I'll just say nice. But when they get big is when you're going to get all that blue marking and just a really nice fish. Oh, we did bring in some more Balzani, and we did put up 2 males with humps. See if I can get them in the video. They're like 3.5 to 4 inches, and there's 2 of them that are got them a really big hump. You can see the one male right there in the middle. So I know a lot of people like the males for the Balzani. I still suggest getting males and females, or getting unsexed. We usually don't offer these as sexed unless we definitely know that it's a dominant male with the hump. But if you want to see this fish look the best, just like all fish, you need to have males and females in the tank. So, and the nice thing about this Geophagus, Gymnogeophagus, is that they're very peaceful. They are not going to like kill everything in your tank. They're very laid back and chilled cichlid. So you know, that's that. We got, I'll keep it on the fire mouth, and then I'm going to answer some of these questions. GM Walker, do you ever carry longfin white clouds? I haven't seen a good strain of longfin white clouds in probably 10-15 years. There used to be a local breeder that had a phenomenal strain. Every time I brought them in from Asia, where they are bred, they just are not that nice. So it really takes a lot of attention to detail breeding the longfin white clouds to get a nice strain. So but no, I do have white clouds in though on that endo order, but they're not longfin. Jerry Collins from Iowa. Gabriel's asking about the Python Haps. I do believe we still have some in here. If not, they are in the greenhouses. I know I got juveniles, so let me look for them first. Let me find. got some Livingstone eyes. So that's the tomato hat. And you can see those guys are, males are just starting to color up on tomato haps. Let me keep looking for my other Vicks. This is the tetrastigmas. A couple of those males are showing good color. We got some small Mabassis. Jolly Reef, Germinales, some Rusties, Masobos. Those guys are looking really nice. It's always been one of my favorite fish. Some elongatas. Those guys are looking nice. But yeah, I'm not seeing them. Let me go back. They should have been. Ah, here they are. Here's the juveniles. So not much color as a juvenile, but at some point, the males and females will turn jet black. So that's what the Python Island, the Pundamilla, the Macrocephala looks like. Let me see if I got any big ones in here. See any big ones in here. So we do have them, but they're over in the greenhouse. So we do not have any of them inside the warehouse. So, but I could tell you a little bit about them. So I got those from a friend of mine, probably over 10 years ago. He brought them in from Europe, and we have been breeding them ever since. Now, like a lot of the Vicks, they have intestinal problems and they get sunken belly really easy. Like I just had it this week. A customer has brought to my attention that he got some that the bellies are really, really skinny on them, even after shipping. And like we purged the fish for 24 hours, and just the stress of shipping causes them to get really, really skinny. Another one that does it is the Pundamilla Nyrii. That's another Vic that, you know, you'll just start seeing them get like really skinny bellies on them. Like none of these are really showing it. It's usually when they're stressed, right? And even though I do not like, you know, treating fish prophylactically, I still do. So you start seeing skinny bellies on your Victorians, treat them with metronidazole. It is something that helps flush out their gut, and if there is parasites in their gut, then it's probably tetrahymena, or not tetrahymena. What is the parasite for the guts? Trying to remember the name of that parasite. Not tetrahymena. SP44s. That's another one of the Vicks. Hexamida, that's the parasite, and Hexamida is kind of like ick is. Like I believe that it'll just randomly show up, just like ick does whenever there's a stressful situation. So I really like metronidazole whenever you start seeing internal problems, especially sunken bellies. You know, have metronidazole. There's a lot of different medications that carry metronidazole in it, so have those meds on hand, and I think you'll see a big difference in them. I'm going to post up on the panda cories, because those guys are looking really nice. Also, another update. Man, I got a lot of updates today. We did place an order with Colombia today, so we've got lots of new cories and plecos coming in from Colombia. Yeah, Ali Sean said the same thing happens with Sapphires. In fact, that's happened to our Sapphires also. So it's just, you know, you got to have meds on hand always. So when they get stressed, You know, it's you know, good to have some of these meds on hand. Jive Turkey says he was involved in this industry in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. It's completely changed. It's good to see where all you guys have taken it. Yes, you know, I do miss those days, but we have gotten way more advanced with our fish knowledge and fish variety, and it's amazing to see where the hobby's going and how much room it still has to grow, because I'm seeing lots and lots of new people breeding fish, even in their house. Like, I buy a lot of my fish, like all the, well, for example, the Black Widow frontosas, all those come from a local breeder, and that's where we buy those from. So we do buy from hobbyists. So we do recommend, if you are really into fish keeping, and you know, but make sure you breed something that is not common, because if you breed common fish, it's there's not going to be as good of a market for something that's already available. So somebody was asking about multi-punctatus. Yes, we do. We've probably got about 20 of them left. Those guys have been selling really well. We also put some more petricolas back on the website. Petricolas are really small. These guys are like inch and a quarter, but they grow so slow. Just don't put them in with bigger Africans, because they're not quite big enough to be a threat to them. So everybody say hey to Jared.
Hey, how's it going?
So we got some super red bushy nose. I think he's taking a video of them now. These guys are looking nice.
Yeah, look good.
And then somebody was asking about, oh, the Black Widows. Like, these are bred from a local breeder, and they're really, really nice. So, and they don't stay in stock very long. Like, we're usually waiting for him to get some more of those guys up and available. I know a lot of the guys that are purists, they don't like the Black Widow, but even those guys admit that it's a stunning looking fish, especially when it gets bigger, and they all have different patterns on them. So all right. Way Too Real says, thank you for showing me the Dovite. No problem. I'm going to answer some of these questions, and then I'm going to wrap it up. Let's see. GM Walker's asking about Pandagaras. So my friend that breeds the Pandagaras, he also breeds those multis, punctatus. I messaged him a couple days ago, said, hey, I'm out of Pandagaras and several of your other fish. So I'm hoping that we'll have some Pandagaras by next week. In fact, I messaged him yesterday. He very well might come by this weekend and drop some off. So hopefully we won't be out of them very long. We've been getting them from the local breeders, because he does a great job breeding all these rare fish. So we try to support these local guys, because it's not easy to import stuff. You know, it's a lot better when I could get them locally, you know. So Cichlid Ranch is asking when we're going to get more Africans out of the ponds. We're actually been bringing in some we bring in some just about every day. A lot of it is, you know, already brought in and sorted. We're just waiting for them to go through the greenhouse quarantine. So whenever we bring in fish from the ponds, we then take them to our greenhouses. And once they go through the quarantine in the greenhouses, then we start putting them up for sale. So we will be adding quite a bit more Africans, you know, back to our inventory. In fact, I added quite a few already this week. So make sure you're signed up for the email notifications. Like, this is our yellow saffron peacocks. Those guys are going to be going up today on the website. I know somebody earlier asked for those. These guys are stunning. They're like 4 to 5 inches, and they're really, really nice. So if you're looking to add some color to your peacocks, those would be a good choice. Oh, I did find some Pundamilla macros. So earlier somebody was asking to see the bigger guys. So here's what they look like. So you can see the male right there. He's all fired up and colored up. This tank has a lot of water stains on the outside. You're gonna have to really wipe these tanks down, but You know, that's what they look like. So this is another one that does not color up very nicely unless you have females in the tank. So you see a couple females there, and I mean, I see right now 3 females and like, no, let's see, 4 females and 5 males. And you can see all these males are just fired up right now. Nice thing about these males is you can keep multiple males in a tank, and they do really, really nice. So here's the fire Ugandas. I'm gonna answer a couple more questions. That one guy says understand about the Paku, and thanks for responding. All my fish from your business are doing well. That's nice, man. I appreciate that. Way Too Real says he bought a 4-inch. Very nice fish. Do we have larger? Yes, there should be some 5 to 6 inch on the website. So we do have 5 to 6 inchers, and nothing usually bigger than that. They get any bigger than that, it's way too difficult to ship them. So this is the Fire Uganda. This is also a Victorian cichlid, and again, these Vicks are notorious for getting sunken bellies. So do not hesitate to get some metronidazole and you know, just have it in your medicine cabinet for fish treatments. And I think that's it. I think I showed you guys the tanks already. Let me flip it over here. Mike's in here doing some landscaping on them. Get some big pieces of driftwood in there. We got some really nice pieces. In fact, these pieces were so big we couldn't use them for any other tanks. So, but I think we'll be putting fish in there. Hopefully a few today, maybe. What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, I think they're ready.
Yeah. We got some rocks starting in this one. This is going to be for the peacock bass. So we're really excited about all this. So, so guys and gals, thank you for joining me today. Also, thank you for all the support that you guys give us in the fish hobby. We love it. We're very thankful that we could, you know, work with all these exotic fish, learn more about them, and also breed them and provide them to you guys in the hobby. So I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart, and just tell you how much I appreciate it. So everybody have a good weekend. Be safe. It's Memorial Day weekend, so it's going to be a lot of people out and about, a lot of crazy people in the world. So be safe, and hopefully next Friday we'll go live. If it's not next Friday, it'll be the Friday after, because I might be fishing next Friday. So thank you guys. Have a good weekend.